We've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
and electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
you know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'.
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811, online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in at Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. No Takedown Tuesdays. We got Ridge Lovett out there handling business, as he's got some opportunities coming up here himself as his wrestling career is still alive. And like I said, he's got some opportunities that I'll let him break next time he's on here on the airwaves. Also, quick reminder, no, Jalen Reyes, he's out there taking care of some business as well. So we don't want to get in the way of him recruiting. Obviously, we've seen how they play. He does a pretty good job at that. So we'll let him keep first things first over there. So it'll be myself and potentially myself. I might just go for 2 hours here. But I got Tristan join me for the first hour. 402-464-5685. Starting him and text line. Always open for you. Facebook, YouTube, X, Owl, Channel 961. Great ways to put a face to the voice. And we are currently having the Royals on the brick and mortar. And I will give an update on the score there. But Tristan, how's it going, man?
Going well. Yeah, it's a great day down here in Lincoln. As just down the road, the Huskers are taking on the Blue Jays at Haymarket. And then we got NBA playoffs starting up today. So it's a good day.
Play in. Well, technically it is playoffs, but currently 1-0. But the Kansas City Royals in the middle of the second inning versus the Detroit Tigers. So that one's still pretty early, and we'll give you more updates as we get further into the game then. Speaking of the playoffs, we'll play in. Are you a big fan of the play-in? Is that something that you get excited for? Like, all right, it's time to sit down and go watch the 10 through 7 seeds duke it out?
In my opinion, no. I think it's fun and watch. It's entertaining that you just get more, I guess, elimination games in a sense. And so if you are kind of just a casual NBA fan and you are watching, then sure, you get an opportunity to watch a little bit more basketball. But I feel like that almost diminishes the point of the regular season. I mean, you play 82 games. What's the point of playing all those games if you just don't have the top 8 records in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? So that's kind of my thought process, is you're just diminishing the games, especially when there's 16 teams in each division or each conference. What's the point of allowing over half the teams an opportunity to get into the postseason? I feel like it just diminishes kind of the value of each regular season game.
Yeah, I like that, like in practice, like the thought of like it would make less teams desire to tank as you get a little bit more wiggle room. And I can't remember the exact wording around it, but the idea of essentially like, okay, the season's not over. It extends that window where you got some games in there where if you can even sneak in as a 10 seed, maybe those 11 seeds aren't just giving up. But we're kind of clearly at a point. If you go look at the bottom tier teams, like they saw the play-in and they opted out. They'd rather tank. So it didn't really work out that way. I commend Silver for trying, because I think that was obviously some extra revenue, extra TV deals. You get those games on there. But also I think it was a way, and like I said, I don't know his quote exactly, but there was an idea of like trying to help with the tanking issue. Didn't work. And now we're just kind of at a point where it does feel like extra games. It's the same argument I have with the college football playoffs, where the more we expand this thing, the more the regular season is not going to matter.
Yeah.
And you already see now where some of these coaches in college football, like why schedule tough games? We're dealing with more than 4 teams now. So we don't necessarily need to schedule really, really tough opponents to make the argument. As long as we win 10 games and we're in a Power 4 conference, well, really, if we're in one of the 2 Power 4 conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, you feel like you're in a good space. I feel like that's what's happening with the NBA now. And that's kind of where that play-in territory is starting to feel, where it's just devaluing the regular season. And like I said, it's not really helping the tanking issue whatsoever.
No, because I think those teams you just look at the records and it seems like, there are always those teams at the bottom that just have a record. By the middle of the season, by the All-Star break, they kind of understand, all right, we're probably not even going to make this play-in game. And so we do have the opportunity just to tank. And so even with that being said, it devalues the regular season even more, because you're playing those teams that already know we're not going to make the play-in. They're not going to be playing their best basketball. There's been a few games where, starters have been late healthy scratches. And thankfully the, Silver went down on the Jazz a little bit on that, but it's just interesting that I like the idea of, all right, we don't want tanking. So we tried, some experiment to see if this play-in scenario would work out. But at this point, I don't think it's super beneficial for the league, especially when the league has just been the same playoffs for so long.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure if there's ever going to be a 10 seed that ends up winning those 2 play-in games and then ends
the Miami
up making
Heat
a run.
was the only one.
Were they the 10 seed?
10 seed or 9 seed, but they were in the play-in. I mean, it was
they
7.
were in the play-in, yeah.
Yeah, it was 7 through 10, and that was the year. I think it was year 1 of the play-in. Maybe it was year 2, but it was unreal. I think that's about the only time we'll see that, where they were in the, I think, third last or second last when it came to 3-point shooting. They miraculously just got red hot in the playoffs, and they really took off, and then they made it all the way to the finals. That's about really the only success story I've seen come out of it. And maybe there's a better chance in the East because it's just not as great of a conference. You get some more of those stories. But even for the Heat, like it just all came crashing down. And I remember in that finals game, it almost felt like fraudulent that were there. And I'm really trying not to take it away from the Miami Heat because it was impressive what they did, but their numbers kind of fell back to the norm in that final series. And Jimmy Butler wasn't dropping 50 points. Like they just weren't winning ball games, and it wasn't really that close to the series. So if you're hoping that in the off chance, maybe you get a really crazy narrative like that, sure, but that's not a great reason to have the play-in tournament. So it's like, well, maybe every 10 years we can get a crazy 10, 7, 8 seed, just make a run all the way to the finals that survive the play-in. That's not adding a whole lot of value there for me either. And if you want to fix the tanking, because I think the play-in, I think it's there to stay. It does add revenue for the league. Does it devalue the regular season? I think so. Does it do it enough to where they'd get rid of it? I don't think they will. I think they keep that one. But to get rid of the tanking, because I'm sure anybody who watches NBA has seen that problem. Like it's very obvious. You get these teams, they're pulling in like G League players, putting them on 10-day contracts, playing them 40 minutes a game. In your case with Utah Jazz, that's how they got fined. It was just so obvious where it's like, okay, you played him 29, 35, another 30-minute game, and then the last game you played him all 40 minutes, and then you cut him the day after. $500,000 fine. They'll pay that $500,000 fine every single time if it means they can tank and look like what the Thunder do now, or the Rockets, or the Spurs, even like all of those teams essentially kind of did the same system where we're just going to tank until we're hoarding all these picks, and then we'll make a run for it. How would you stop the tanking? The one day I have, and I'll see if you shoot it down, because I've gotten a wild response, whether I'm talking to DeMornay or if I'm talking to Raph. Can you enforce lottery punishments? So, like, if the Utah Jazz, like, they're going to pay the $500,000, and I think they'll just be totally cool with that, and they'll keep tanking. But if I had the repercussions, like, if you get caught and you just need to catch them a few times, of course, there's multiple teams doing it, but the punishment's so severe where you are now, next 5 years, you don't get a lottery pick, no matter how bad you are.
I think that's just the tough part. Is it's almost you would have to have specific rules that if you do get caught, because you don't want it to get to a point where it's the NBA is just accusing a team and they're going, wait, no, we had a few guys that were banged up or something. Right. That's why we called up this G League guy. And so you don't want it to just come down to where it's just a judgment call by the NBA, and then that can take a team's picks away. But then also it brings the possibility that if that was the case, then organizations probably would be a little bit more fearful to really go ahead and tank, because they would realize that, all right, if we do get caught for this, we are kind of screwed because we're already bad. Yeah. And then we're not having the opportunity for lottery picks. I also saw something along the lines of, once you are eliminated from the playoffs, your winning percentage gives you a better opportunity to get a higher pick.
Oh, so, I like that one.
And so let's say, who's last in? Who has the worst record in the NBA right now?
Let me look. It might be the Wizards. There might be someone below the Wizards right now. The worst record in the NBA awarded to Washington Wizards.
Yep.
They got 65 losses on the year and 17 wins.
Yeah. And they have Anthony Davis and Trae Young on the roster, which is kind of crazy, but unfortunately they're just not playing. But yeah, I think it gives an incentive to coaches, to players, that you still have to, play hard. And so once they are eliminated from the playoffs, if they can somehow build a good winning percentage, then they set themselves up better for the lottery. I think that would be one possible way, because once they're eliminated from the playoffs, what other reason do they have to play besides to try to lose and tank and get a better pick?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like the start date on that. Like once you're eliminated, because like if you're in contention and like you're out of it at the very end, and then you have 2 games, and it's like, well, if we won 2, we won 100% of the games.
Yeah.
We have the best record. But if you're a really, really bad team, like you're out, like my Bulls, they're out of the playoffs a lot earlier than other people were this year, or the Wizards knew way before. So it's like, how many games do they play, like fight for that record? Like the start date, and like, okay, this is, so all teams that are eliminated kind of have a number. I like the idea. I'm trying to figure out how you put it in thought. Another one that I heard, this one's crazy. Austin Breezy. I like the idea though. I don't know if it'd ever fly. He just had the idea of once NBA teams get to over 50 losses, every loss after that, they pay fines.
Wow. That would be brutal. I mean, just think too, like, I mean, if you are the Wizards, I mean, that's also, it comes down to a front office issue when you have Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and they're not playing. But if you are just that bad and you're just begging for wins and you're just getting fined loss after loss after loss.
He had fines. Like, you're not going to be able to do that one. That's tough. But like, maybe you can structure it like revenue share gets cut by a tiny percentage. And like, okay, your 51st loss, okay, now you're gonna get a little bit of less pay because their team's struggling. Okay, now it's gonna ramp up 5 losses, and you can kind of stack it where it's very minor, but if you get to a point where you're just playing atrocious basketball and you're not competing whatsoever, like the Washington Wizards, like what's their value to the NBA? Not a lot this year. Maybe you could do something like that, but you kind of get the idea. Like everything we're saying is pretty damn extreme. Like to fix the tanking problem, because there's not all these teams have kind of figured out ways to work around it and tank regardless. And really, the Thunder didn't start this, but they've really set the precedent on how successful it can be in the modern era that we're in. And you go back to like that 21-22 season, you really started seeing the tanking work. And again, if you look at the teams today who are some of the best teams out there, you look at the OKC Thunder and the Spurs, who are sitting at 1 and 2 in the West. And then if you go to the East, okay, you're looking at the Detroit Pistons. They're at 1. Celtics, they're a familiar face. You got the New York Knicks at 3. East just doesn't do a good job tanking. The West has much better examples. I'll say that much, because some of these teams have been stuck tanking forever. But the Thunder are one of the best teams, and they did it through tanking. The Spurs are one of the best teams right now, and they did it by tanking. The Pistons are one of the best teams right now, and they did it by tanking. All very similar, where they're just going to not forfeit games, but intentionally drop games, put lineups out there that are just analytically bad, where they have all these advanced metrics. They know which lineups usually prove the most success, and they'll put bad ones out there, kind of understanding that the chances are they'll most likely take a loss if they do so. So if you look at where we're at today, if you go look at the Utah Jazz, who's sitting there with 60 wins, good chance that we go forward 5 years and the Jazz are one of the best teams in the NBA if they pull the tank off properly and if this doesn't get fixed by then. Same thing with the Sacramento Kings. Like I said, it's not a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it is also true. The Washington Wizards are just horrible when it comes to the tank. And then they just made some questionable trades. They haven't fully committed to it either. Obviously, you had the Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole era that I don't know where the drive was for that. You weren't going to win a lot of ball games. They were also spending a decent amount of money to bring those two over. And now they're sitting there with Anthony Davis. Terrible injury history. You kind of knew you were getting there. So I couldn't really tell you where the Wizards' mind's at. But usually the tanking works. The Wizards just aren't the best example for it.
No, and I think for the Utah Jazz, I mean, they are a younger team.
Yes.
And so I think in their case, this is an opportunity for them to build up. But like if you're the Wizards, you losing, there's not, I mean, you have, Trae Young now, but then you have an Anthony Davis who is so injury prone. I can't remember the last time he, just was healthy for an entire season. Is you tanking right now, like you're not setting yourself up for the future, because by the time you can bring in some young guys that are, good players and can build the team around, Anthony Davis is probably done. And so it's that for the Wizards, it just doesn't make sense. But I was thinking back to, just the fines. I mean, I think it was maybe 2015. I think I just pulled it up, is when the Lakers just had that horrible starting lineup. Like the graphic is just unbelievable.
Oh, with Kobe Bryant?
Well, Kobe was out with injuries. And so it was Jordan Clarkson, Wayne Ellington, Ryan Kelly, Tariq Black, and Robert Sacre. And that was just like the starting lineup graphic. And I remember everyone was just like, wow, I can't believe like this is the Lakers starting lineup. But for a team like that is struggling, they had a 13-36 stretch.
And they were recovering because I think that was shortly after, or maybe it's that year and they're still, but the Steve Nash, Dwight Howard disaster.
Yeah.
Where they had all that capital on those two older superstars and they both got hurt. And then you were left with just Kobe Bryant. I can't remember if that was before or after, but that's how we got that. Such a bad lineup was just, you're bringing older players in there and then they get hurt. Kind of what happened to the Wizards this year.
Yeah. But you think about a team like the Lakers, an organization that does have just so much money, where that fine to, the Jazz, which isn't still for an NBA organization, not that much, but like to the Lakers, that's pocket change. Like that's nothing. And so I think that's the issue with if you continue to find teams that are in smaller markets, if after they get to their 50 losses, then all these teams are just going to be like, they're going to turn into, we see it a lot more in baseball, I feel like, is the Dodgers can pay whoever they want, while the Royals, they have to scratch and for every little guy that they get, and they can't compete with the big dogs. And so I think the fine has to somehow be
You'd have to
even.
have like a small market team clause in there.
Yeah.
But the punishments aren't as much. And even then, I don't think we can be fining teams for dropping ball games just because it's
no, especially too if you're just really bad, especially if you're a coach and you're just like, we are actually trying to win. We are just not winning basketball games. Like we are just bad. And then there's always every year there's those teams, and sometimes it's not even them just tanking. You're just like, wait, if you look at this roster, it's just not
like the
good.
Magic this year. They're not struggling. What are they? Yeah, they only have like 37 losses, but like they were trying to win ball games this year.
Yeah.
And then things just, Ben Carroll just didn't develop maybe as much as they wanted to. There would be nowhere near having to like pay fines or everything. But sometimes like you look at the lineup, looks like a great lineup, and it's just not clicking for whatever reason. So that fair. That's where I'm stuck on like punishing on the lottery. Because I think if you can threaten, and you want to be handing them out left and right, but it's rare when they're able to get these because to your point, you have to prove it beyond doubt. And that's why it's only happened like very, very infrequently. You only had 2 this year, and I couldn't tell you the last time they actually handed out fines. I'd have to go back to like 2014 season. But if you do catch them, and if everyone's around there like, oh my God, they just got 5 years of no lottery picks, and however that works, like maybe their pick just automatically becomes like the last pick in the first round, no matter what. You could work it a few different ways, but I think if the threat's big enough, you don't have to really impose yourself that much. Like you do it once or twice. Like if this year that fine actually hit the Jazz and they realize like we're screwed for the next 5 seasons, okay, I think teams would be way more cautious about it. And maybe you lessen that. Maybe you say, okay, we'll just do 3 years. 5's way too much. But even like 3 years, I think that would be enough to scare teams away. It's unfortunate, but I think that's what you have to do. I think it's got to be more threatening and terrifying than anything for them to just be like, all right, it's not worth the risk. Even though you see the success with the Thunder and the Rockets and the Spurs, there's a good chance that we blow up our entire operation and none of us have jobs in 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's my only idea on it. You guys can always chime in 402-464-5685. We do got Royals on the brick and mortar. So if you're listening, that means you found the stream or the app. Appreciate you guys listening. We will throw out the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk some more NBA playoffs on the other side right here, 93.7 The Ticket.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long on the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Asset Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Asset Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hey everyone, this is Austin Orman from Old School with Foreman and Orman, live from 1040 O Street in the heart of downtown Lincoln, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. My favorite thing about downtown Lincoln has to be the year-round energy. Downtown Lincoln never stops. It's easy to get to, has everything you could need or want in dining, entertainment, and retail, and of course it has Lincoln's best sports talk, proudly located in downtown Lincoln on the corner of 11th and O.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all of the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
93.7. Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arens to the ones and twos. We got Tristan Gomes to my left talking some NBA playoffs, and let's keep that conversation rolling. We talked a lot of the NBA play-in, tanking, how you fix those issues. Threw a lot of spaghetti out the wall. Not sure if any of it necessarily stuck, but if Silver's listening, he's got a few things he can at least consider. Let's talk some NBA playoffs, though. We're going to kind of broad subject this. I think we'll start with the East first because that probably the least storylines going on in the East. So the way it's sitting right now in the playoffs, I'm going to leave the play-in out of it because, like I said, I don't think any of those teams really have much of a shot. So if you want to, shout out the Magic 76ers in the East, feel free to do so. But at the 1 seed, you got the Pistons. They're obviously still waiting to see who comes out of the 8 seed for that play-in. And then you got a 4-5 matchup between the Cavaliers Raptors. You got the 3-6 matchup, Knicks and Hawks. And, of course, the 2-seeded Celtics waiting for the inevitable 7 seed once that play-in wraps up on the 17th. Anybody in the East really excite you, or any narratives that you're looking forward to? I think it's, I'll be honest, I'm looking at chalk 1-2. Most likely, I don't really see a whole lot of chaos going. I'm looking at Celtics, Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I am interested. I think it's going to be exciting to have Jason Tatum back and just see, what the Celtics look like with him. But then also, I am curious just about the Knicks. I feel like every year, like you just look at Jalen Brunson, you look at that roster and you just go, this is like a team that seems like they could do some damage in the playoffs. And then they just continuously struggle. So if it does end up being the Knicks, and the Celtics in that next round, I'm excited to just see how that plays out. I think if the Knicks can somehow get by the Celtics, they possibly have an opportunity of making it to the finals. I think it's just going to come down to those big moments and those big games that seems like they've struggled in. I am curious just to see how the Pistons do. They're just a younger team, and you never know how those teams are going to perform. But then after seeing the Thunder last year, they just played harder than pretty much everyone and played so well as a team. And so if I had to take a guess right now in that Eastern Conference Finals, I would go Pistons Celtics. I'm not sure if there's another team that really can get up there. Possibly the Cavs if they can knock off the Pistons in the next round. But outside of that, I think the East, it might be pretty chalk.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the NBA, on the bright side for the NBA, if it is a 1-2 chalk, at least you got the Celtics in there because a small market team of the Pistons isn't going to do great for money revenue-wise. But if you get the Celtics Knicks in that second round, that's a great matchup. They're two major market teams. Maybe the Raptors can be sneaky. They've been, I think, better than anticipated this year. I mean, if I'm looking at upsets, like it's going to be in that first round. And like I said, I don't really see anybody beating the Pistons. I don't see anybody beating the Celtics. If it does come down to that, who do you like more, Pistons or Celtics?
I like the Celtics. I think I'm just going to have to go with the maturity, the experience of those guys. And I was tuning into the Celtics the other night and saw, or this was probably a few weeks ago, and just saw Derek White play. And he was a guy that obviously played for Team USA and got more minutes than Jason Tatum. But just the way that he plays, like the role that he plays on that team where he can be the scorer, he can knock down threes. Like he just seems like he's one of those guys you see on NBA, like in the NBA Finals, that isn't going to be the highlight story. He's not going to be all that. But like that's the type of guy that wins games, it feels like. Like last year you had Shea and you had Chet, and then you also had Jalen Williams, who is also a guy that can go get a bucket and play unbelievable defense. Derek White kind of fits that same mold, and then Celtics have been there before. When we think about the East, there's not many teams besides the Celtics as of late that have really done it. And so I think the Celtics are the team in my eyes that make it out of the East.
Yeah, and they were always knocking on the door. It feels like the Pistons are where the Celtics were maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, where they are starting to kind of be knocking on that Eastern Conference Finals door, and they just can't quite break through. Not quite there yet. They still need to get there, but they're putting themselves in the positions to be one of those favorites. But it wasn't too long ago that Celtics team, we were watching them fall apart every single time. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose, get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose. And then they finally broke through and won it. And now they're one of those teams that, again, I think you're right. More than just a media talking point. I think that playoff experience matters, and Pistons maybe just need a little bit more of that. Cunningham, big deal, obviously with the collapse lung, but he's good, healthy. You need so much out of him though to I think pull off that series against a good Boston Celtics team who guys like Derek White. I mean, you need those role players to step up. It's like every playoff series. Like the best example I remember is everyone remembers like the great Steph Curry and Cleveland and the Warriors going back and forth all the time. Sean Livingston was so damn good in those series.
Yeah.
Like he was just that great role player, comes off the bench, he's knocking down, just keeping the offense steady for him. And he would just have some really big time moments when their superstars weren't necessarily on or on the court. And I think that's what you need. So Celtics, they got more than enough of those guys. Pistons, they got a good group of role players, but we'll just have to wait and see who steps up. Then of course, Cunningham, I think he'd have to play phenomenal to pull that one out. Really all I got for the East. I don't think there's like a ton of excitement there. It'll be interesting with the Knicks, 3 seed. I thought when they fired Coach Tibbs, that was a mistake, but maybe they're right because they're right back in there with a good seeding. But we'll see if they can make some noise. In the West is where it gets interesting. The West, I mean, you have a good argument for just about any of these teams. We'll leave the play-in out of it, of course. So the 1-seeded Thunder waiting for that 8 seed. And then you got the 4-5 matchup, which is the 4-seeded Lakers and the 5-seeded Houston Rockets. Like a KD LeBron playoff game is insane. You got a 3-seeded Nuggets versus the number 6 Timberwolves. And then you got the 2-seeded Spurs waiting for, again, that 7 seed, whoever comes out of that play-in, whatever it's Suns, Trailblazers, they will wait and see. With that being said, in the West, I'll just ask you who you like, because there's a good argument for all these teams.
I got to be honest, I like the Nuggets, and it's kind of unfortunate because I love Anthony Edwards. Like, he is one of my favorite players to watch, and I'm upset that he has to take on Jokic and the Nuggets in that first round, which I think could still be a pretty good series, and is just a guy we've seen in the playoffs already that does not care who he's playing against. Like, he just hoops and finds ways to score.
Edwards or Jokic?
And Edwards, yeah. And I think that'll make this series interesting, but it seems like when the playoffs come around, Jamal Murray and Jokic just find a way to win. And they continuously do it. I think they're set up well, especially if they do end up taking on the Spurs in that next round. Jokic Wemby would be an unbelievable series to watch. And so I just like the Nuggets because of Jokic and what he has done continuously. And we might touch on the MVP race and just what went on there. But he's a guy that I think he's just the best player in the NBA. And I think we're going to see that in the playoffs. But I also am curious on the Thunder because they just find ways to win ever since they won last year.
Yeah, they're deadly efficient. Like, they just really, really value possessions, and they are not very often they'll walk away possessions empty-handed. This is a great matchup. It sucks for me too, because I like both of these teams. The best thing for the Timberwolves is that they're not the Lakers. The Lakers and the Nuggets is always just a train wreck. So the Lakers just can't match up with the Nuggets for whatever reason. Jamal Murray seems to go nuclear anytime he's facing the Lakers in the playoffs. This matchup, though, they're familiar faces. I mean, last year, I think I went to Game 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a Game 7 again this year. It's just tough that these guys are going up against each other. Yeah. I love it. It's a great, first-round matchup. But, being honest, any of these Western teams, the card you draw is going to be brutal. There's not going to really be any easy matchups in this one. I'm going to go with the Nuggets just because, I'm being biased, and I like the Nuggets a little bit more than I like the Timberwolves. But, I'm not going to be surprised regardless who comes out of this. The Timberwolves have been one of the teams that seem to match up really well with the Nuggets, and that's just kind of unfortunate for the Nuggets. It's also unfortunate for the Timberwolves because that is two really, really good teams. The Nuggets arguably one of the favorites, but they're going against the Timberwolves, who seem to match up and understand how they operate a little bit more than everybody else. So that's a great one. The other one that I'm super looking forward to, I like the Nuggets as well, but the Rockets-Lakers. I don't think the Lakers can come out of this thing and win it. The Rockets are interesting, though, because you do got a younger team, but you're led by Kevin Durant. And we've seen Kevin Durant in these playoffs might be, one of the most electric playoff players where he is so clutch.
Yeah.
Even when he was playing for the Warriors, he was hurt. And then he came in for a little bit, then he got hurt again. But when he came in, like instantly changed the game. He was just dropping threes from the corner. Then of course he gets hurt, and that was kind of the end of that story right there. But he is always insanely efficient. And it's like that through the regular season too. This guy's numbers are unreal. Like, what you're getting with him. They might have enough now to get over the hump. And then of course it's going to be, if they win, that Thunder team almost guaranteed to be that team after. But you got a superstar in Kevin Durant who's kind of made for those big time situations. So it's hard you can't really count on your hands. Like, times he's disappointed you. He's the opposite of James Harden in the playoffs. Like, he usually comes through in big ways.
Yeah, I think Kevin Durant is going to be the difference in this, especially with the Lakers team that is beat up. I was just doing my research to see, when's Luka coming back? When's Austin Reeves coming back?
No Luka,
and it's
no
Reeves, and it's not looking good for them. And so we're going to see. I think the most exciting part about this series is just that we are going to see LeBron and Kevin Durant go at it. I am curious. We have seen a LeBron who seems like he's became more of a facilitator this season because Luka has just been unbelievable. Austin Reeves has also had plenty of games where he'll just put up 25 or 30. And so LeBron could have that facilitator role. But if the Lakers are going to win this series, it's going to have to be him. And he is going to have to play like he did when he was on the Cavs in the playoffs. Like, that's what you're going to have to get out of LeBron. And I'm curious to see if we do get that, if that's the type of energy we get. How many minutes is he playing? Is he just going all out and just absolutely exhausted by the end of this? Because I think that's the only way that they can beat this Rockets team.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just going to be a battle of the quote unquote unks out there, whoever lasts in this series, because they're going to be asked to do a lot. LeBron, even more so. They're just in a tough spot in the playoffs right now without those two guys healthy. So it's going to be a great opportunity for LeBron to kind of, I don't know how much longer he wants to play, but this could be a legacy kind of playoff year for him if he goes out there and it just has stellar performances. And even if he manages to take down the Rockets, like, that's a huge achievement considering how underhanded they are right now. The San Antonio Spurs, we'll get to the last one and then we'll throw it to break, and we'll quickly talk about the Thunder too. But the Spurs, we talked about the Pistons, like maybe they need more experience. There's something about Victor Wembanyama that says he doesn't need a year. He's ready to go right now. And they'll get that first round, which will be a nice, probably easy one. Then they'll be looking at the Nuggets or Timberwolves. I'm not going to pick them to win it outright, but I wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves in the Western Conference Finals. If they were able to take down the Denver Nuggets, even though Nuggets have the series over those guys this year, Timberwolves do not. But Victor Wembanyama, I'm hard pressed to doubt him because he's shown up in significant ways this year. And, if you're going to the MVP argument, there's probably no one who's more valuable to their team than what Victor Wembanyama is to the San Antonio Spurs right now. And he's young. He doesn't seem to have a whole lot of wear and tear when he's out there playing. Looks healthy. If he can hold on to that, this guy's a nightmare. There's no one that's really been able to match up with him yet.
Yeah, I think he is he's in the MVP race right now, but he does seem like a guy that is just so mature. Maybe it is just because he is one of those guys that played professional basketball overseas, and by the time he got to the NBA,
he's reading books.
Yeah, he's
doing math
books.
real time. A post game interview. I don't know if you saw that one.
I see that.
It's crazy. I was like, at first I thought it was he must just memorize these, and then they're asking on the fly. Dude's really, really smart, and he has that maturity.
Yeah. He was a monk over the offseason.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Of course he's mature.
I totally forgot about that. We got all the pictures of him just at temples and, had his head shaved and everything. He just seems like a guy that is just mentally locked in and just finds ways to be successful. And then also you have to factor in that he is 7'4" and is just a unicorn, just absolutely unguardable. And so I think he is a guy that will just make a difference in this playoffs because no matter who they're matched up against, he is a matchup nightmare. I brought up how if they do play the Nuggets in that next round, you have Jokic, you have Wemby, but for both of them, that's still a tough matchup, to find a way to guard them because Wemby can just reach up and dunk the ball without even jumping, it seems like. And then Jokic probably does have, he has more of the size and can get down into the post. And so Wemby is just a matchup nightmare. And you're just curious. They have Stephon Castle, they have De'Aaron Fox, they have other guys that can facilitate very well and also get some buckets. And so I am curious how well they play without the experience, but do they really need it?
Yeah, I feel like for a guy like him, he doesn't. And the defense player of the year too, you have that in your cards where you are walking with the best defense. And this isn't Rudy Gobert defense player of the year. This is another stratosphere of defense player of the year. Rudy Gobert is great, but protecting the rim was why he won the award. Victor Wembanyama, he will protect the rim and he will chase you down anywhere. Like, he's athletic, he's fast, he's got quick hands. He's got a whole lot more to his game than, not disparaging anything Rudy Gobert did, but like just the difference and like what the defensive player of the year is compared to this year. When you look at some of the previous winners, he is an absolute freak out there. So you got the defense player of the year and one of the best ones we've seen in a very long time. That's tough for anyone. Even a guy like Jokic, they have the series over the Spurs, but Jokic need to play really, really good in those games. And even Victor Wembanyama wasn't able to slow him down, but everyone else, it was Jokic had to go off, and then Victor was still doing enough help defensive wise that even if it wasn't Jokic, he was helping off and just causing so many problems for everybody else on the team. So I wouldn't be super surprised by them. Quickly, Thunder. Chance to go back to back? Well, obviously a chance, but do you buy it?
I do buy it, honestly. I mean, the Spurs did kind of dominate the Thunder all season long, especially early in the season. And so you think of them as a team that has the opportunity to beat them. But even when the Thunder has been playing the Nuggets, like, they've found ways to win those games. And I think the biggest thing going into this playoffs is they probably just have more confidence than anyone else in the league. And so I do believe that they have an opportunity to go back to back. Will they? It might come down to how the officiating is.
Yeah, well, we'll see. How many elbows did Dort throw?
A lot, yeah. He might not
put the over under at like 3 in the playoff series.
Yeah, where it's gonna be. Yeah, I feel like he's trying to be a better version of Dylan Brooks, and they're both fighting to be the Michael Jordans of. He is the Michael Jordan of Dylan Brooks. I'll put that. I'll put it that way.
There you go. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole conversation with those guys and how they play defense, and coaches talk about it pretty openly, and they've said it multiple times throughout the season. So I won't go into that. I do think there's definitely some bias there, but when you really look at the free throw numbers, the Thunder aren't like in a stratosphere by themselves. They definitely seem to get the benefit of the doubt more, but it's not at a point to me where I'm like, yep, it's all rigged. It's all Thunder. Sometimes when good teams are good, subconsciously, I feel like refs they'll preemptively kind of make the calls.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Tom Brady effect. It's the Patrick Mahomes effect. Like, they're going to get probably some few more rush from the passers or even pass interference calls rather than a guy like Zach Wilson is if he's back there a quarterback. So it's just you have to earn it. And when Shea wins MVP, refs probably give him a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt.
100%. With that being said, let's talk about SGA and the MVP race on the other side. Really good race. You can make a good argument for everyone 1 through 3 and even arguably 1 through 4 if you wanted to throw Luka in the mix. But don't go anywhere. We'll throw it to break. We'll talk about that next.
It seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Now boarding. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK. Make flying easy.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Grant Wister. I played at Nebraska, and after football, I wanted to build something in Nebraska that I was genuinely proud of. Champ Roofing is that. We built the whole company around one idea: do the job right and treat people well. Roof replacements, inspections, gutters, siding, whatever you need, our team is going to show up, communicate with you, and handle it with real care. Nebraska homeowners deserve that. Visit us at champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
you know, boom, 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 boom. Shh.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'.
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. A final segment. Going to wrap up with some NBA here, and then I'll keep it rolling for another hour. With that being said, let's talk about the NBA MVP race. It's really between 3 guys. Luka officially out of the mix. Did not get enough games in this season. You're looking at SGA, Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic. If you want to, say Jaylen Brown for tongue in cheek, feel free to, but not in real contention to go ahead and win it. Do you have an MVP pick? I don't know if there's a wrong answer.
No, I don't think there is. But if I had to, it would be Nikola Jokic. Just looking at his stats, I mean, he's first in he's averaging a triple-double. He's first in rebounds. He's first in assists in the league, and then averaging 27.7, which is 8th in the league in points. And then you just look at the style of play, and it is most valuable player, which I do believe that, Shea is extremely valuable to the Thunder. I think of the 3 teams that those guys are on, if you take Shea out, I think the Thunder would be the best without their guy.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think the Nuggets would really struggle without Jokic because he is first in assists as a center. And so I think Jokic is the guy that I believe deserves the MVP, but I think we've touched on it before, as it just seems like once you've seen it, it's not novel, it's not anything new, it's not anything special, and we almost just expect this. But like when Russell Westbrook was averaging a triple-double, everyone was losing their minds, understandably.
Yeah.
And I think when Nikola Jokic does it, we just go, that's just what he does.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit devalued somehow. And again, if it's the shock values fading off and he just makes it look so easy. He's also got one of those games too where you'll just like look up and you're like, damn, he's got 36 already and he's got 12 rebounds and he just makes it look effortless, so you don't always see it. But then, if you want to use that argument, you could say Victor Wembanyama. What would the Spurs be without him?
Yeah.
Nowhere near the second seed. Like they'd probably be a playing team. So when you're looking at value, okay, who means the most to their team? It's like Jokic, Victor, but you could probably make their Victor wins that one just because, again, the Spurs are sitting there as a 2 seed, which without him, who knows where they're at? Like I said, I'd probably a play-in team. The Thunder would be the best off. They wouldn't be in the position they're at, of course, but they'd be sitting pretty healthy in the playoffs. But then if you want to go like just who's the most efficient, like who's going to go out there and just make every possession count, well, then SGA actually wins that one. Yeah. Because if you look at his numbers, you can get into the advanced metrics of it. He's having one of the most efficient seasons we've ever seen by any player at that guard position. Because you go back in time, you get to the bigs, like they were playing the most efficient games because obviously you're around the rim.
Yeah.
You got 15 rebounds. You're shooting 70% from the floor. So with the guards, one of the most efficient seasons we've ever seen by a guard actually beats out Steph Curry's year where he broke the record for most threes in a season. But then if you're going for like just dominant, then yeah, it's Jokic. Like a guy who's just going to go out there and you don't have any answers for. Like, hell, I just talked about how good Victor Wembanyama was as the defensive player of the year. Could not stop Jokic. Still didn't matter. It was unreal. He's just shooting over the guy on fadeaway turnaround jumpers. That is the most dominant player. The defense player of the year can't even not just stop him, but like subdue his stats to where he's not elite, where Jokic was still, like I said, dropping 30 incredibly efficient games, even when Victor Wembanyama was matched up against him. I'm biased. I'd go Jokic. If it was up to me, he would have gotten it the last 3 years in a row. But like, this is the year where if he didn't win it, I'd be like, okay, I can at least see an argument for it.
Yeah, I mean, Shea has been absolutely unbelievable, and the efficiency is definitely there. And he earned his team the 1 seed once again. So obviously he does bring that value aspect to it. But also, I think, Wemby is another guy. It seems like the league for so many years has always just wanted someone new.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like it's just the voters. Like I said, they see one guy do it. They go, that's just how he plays. Like, we need someone new. And so I could see Wemby possibly making his way up there. As of right now, it seems like Shea is the favorite, which I wouldn't be surprised if he went and did it again, just because he has been tremendous all season long. And looking at his statistics, he's just done it. He's averaging over 31 points a game. And so how do you not give it to a guy that's averaging over 30?
You give it to the guy who's averaging 34 or 32. What's Jokic averaging?
He is averaging 27.
Damn. Okay. But he's
27.7. Yeah. But then also, 12.9 rebounds and 10.7 assists. How do you not give it to that guy? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. And then I was just looking at the season totals. Shea has knocked down 115 3-pointers, shooting about 38.5%. Jokic has knocked down 112 3-pointers, shooting 38%. And so you're thinking of two totally different positions. And then there's a center that is averaging more assists than a point guard. And I think Jokic is just an anomaly. And maybe it's just because I am biased. I'm a big fan of, watching him play, where it is just, to me, it's so entertaining because you're just in awe the whole time. Like, how is this guy doing it? Like, he looks like he's jogging up the floor. He doesn't even want to be there. And he's finding ways to score 27 and get triple doubles every game.
And it's just IQ is just unreal. Yeah. Like, and that's, a big part of his playmaking is just the angles he's able to make, but it's just, he's so good at predicting where the defense wants to go next, what that next action is, to the point where he's just barking at his players on like where to be. And the guy's like, I'll just stand here because Jokic is usually right. And the ball's probably going to come right here. And sure as hell, Jokic was spot on and they get his stops. Like, even when he's not affecting the play, like his understanding of the game is just absolutely ridiculous at times. So I'd go with Jokic as well. I just think that guy is once in a lifetime player that I don't think people always appreciate what we're watching.
Yeah.
We're not going to see another Jokic. Like someone that plays basketball like that and dominates the way he does. There'll be guys that come in here and average triple doubles, but it won't look like how Jokic is doing it.
No, especially a guy that when the season gets done, he just wants to go back to Serbia and hang out with his horses. So
hell yeah, man.
he's just a fun guy to watch and just enjoy. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see anyone like Jokic ever again.
Nope. And unfortunately, I think SGA is going to go ahead and win the MVP. They do the grassroots poll like inside with media members. Since they started doing it, they've hit it on 100% of the times. And currently it's SGA by a long shot.
Yeah.
So we probably will see SGA hoist the MVP trophy once again. But hey, I'm not disparaging it too much. Like I said, I think you can make a fair argument for all of these guys. But of course, you and me, we both picked Jokic. A lot of people will pick SGA. Appreciate everybody listening. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to keep it rolling right here. Tick Weeknights with Harrison Arens.
Where home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Grant Wister. I played at Nebraska, and after football, I wanted to build something in Nebraska that I was genuinely proud of. Champ Roofing is that. We built the whole company around one idea: do the job right and treat people well. Roof replacements, inspections, gutters, siding, whatever you need, our team is going to show up, communicate with you, and handle it with real care. Nebraska homeowners deserve that. Visit us at champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
you know,
Not sure I'm getting it.
it's totally jammin'.
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Ticket Weeknights still on the ones and twos. You guys get a full 3 hours of my sports conversations today, and then we'll be back right on track. The following hour, we got Mandy Munson for the Girls Club, where she brings on obviously women business leaders, and a whole bunch of different categories. I think she tries to keep it somewhat local, but obviously she's got a lot of connections that run all over the country. So she'll be on. She always does a great job, so keep an eye out for that one in the following hour. We'll probably still be streaming by then. Well, we currently have the Royals on the brick and mortar. So if you guys are listening to me, I always say it, congrats. You found the streams, you found the Ticket app. But if you're looking for others, direct them to Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. But of course, you can just listen as well on that Ticket app. Some updates for you with that Royals game going on right now. It is currently already the 6th inning. The Royals lead it 1-0 over the Detroit Tigers. Currently, your Kansas City Royals sitting with a 7-9 record, 2-4 on the road. Detroit Tigers sitting with a 7-9 record, 5-1 at home. So Detroit usually actually pretty solid home venue for those guys so far. Very, very early in the season, but not a great start for the Royals so far. So hopefully catch a little bit of momentum there. And when that one wraps up, of course, we'll give you the score and we'll throw it back live to the brick and mortar. We got another ball game going on between Nebraska and Creighton. This one home at Haymarket Park. The Huskers got the win on the road versus Creighton earlier in the year. Now they are hosting Creighton today. Great day to host baseball too. So shout out to everyone who went to the game. A little bit jealous myself. Great day to go watch Nebraska potentially take down their rival for a second time. Unfortunately, right now though, they are down. It is 4-3, but the Huskers do have two guys on base at first and second. They are sitting with 2 outs currently, but at back is Overbeek. So a good chance to try to get some runs in before this inning wraps up here and then goes to the top of the 4th. So 4-3, bottom of the 3rd inning. Like I just said, as I'm speaking, Overbeek single to right field, gets a runner all the way home. Okay, perfect. So they got a runner in. So then I got 2 runners on first and third base. They're still sitting there with 2 outs. Stokes is getting ready to bat next year. So 4-4, Huskers coming back here a little bit. Creighton started off the match for the game pretty well here. They had 3 runs in that first inning and then would follow up with another run in the second inning. Obviously, in the third, got nothing there. In Nebraska, they were scoreless in the first. They picked up 2 in that second inning, and they picked up another 2 in this third inning with an out still to go here. So keep you updated on that one as well as Stokes getting ready to bat here. In other news, this is typically serve and volley with Nebraska associate head coach Jalen Reyes, and I think rightfully so that we talk about the volleyball program a little bit and shout out their achievements. They're in the middle of their spring schedule, and it's really cool when you have a program like Nebraska's volleyball program that, even if you're not like a volleyball fan or you go to the games or really watch it, like you can see it. It is such a movement at this point that if you're not a fan yourself, you've certainly seen the fans in a large number show up to these venues. And it's incredibly impressive the following that these guys have built. I mean, programs would kill for the type of loyalty and the type of passion that not just John Cook, not just what Danny Bosboom Kelly's doing right now, all the coaches beforehand have built to make this such a iconic volleyball school where, I always get a little bit offended by it. Some people will see when we get to football season, they'll kind of dunk on Nebraska and be like, volleyball school. Damn right. We're a damn good volleyball school. We have the best one in the country that you guys can't even come close to. So why that's used as like a disrespect, I'll never fully understand, because it's like that program makes money. I think it was one of the first volleyball programs to actually turn over a profit. A lot of that last year, that it was due to the volleyball day in Nebraska. I think 2 years ago, the volleyball day in Nebraska. I think last year they were actually under again, but still with the brand recognition. And again, when we're talking under, we're talking not by a whole lot. The brand recognition is well worth it. You get your name out there and you'll probably see those numbers keep growing. I mean, they're going out there to play in Wrigley Field. I mean, this is how big this volleyball program has gotten, that these agencies, and we've had Jalen Reyes talk about this, like it is such a wanted program that they have to turn down venues. People want to ask Husker volleyball team, do you want to play here? Do you want to play here? Do you want to play here? They have to say no sometimes because they're too busy or they're already committed to the volleyball schedule ahead of them already. And even though they can maybe make some more money, they can spread their brand awareness, they got to take care of business. That's how big the program's gotten, that they don't just get these one-offs and they're not in there fighting tooth and nail to pull these things off. Like they're at the point where people come up and ask them, they got these, I don't know what you'd call them, these event agencies, I guess be the way to call it, where they see if they can go ahead and book Husker volleyball because they see how the Husker fan base travels in every sport, right? We just saw it with basketball. Nebraska basketball puts up a historic basketball year, best season in Nebraska basketball history, and the fans completely take over OKC. Worked out, not a super long drive for our fans to get down there, but then in Houston, you saw the same thing. Now, unfortunately, in Houston on TV, it didn't look as great because they had those seats kind of reserved. Tickets were bought up, so the Red couldn't pour all the way to the front. It was a bit odd looking at it. I thought they definitely should have, but at the same time, the fans were there. If you looked at the social media, like that arena where Husker fans could sit, those seats were full. Outside the arena, the bars were full of Husker fans. So you can see how well the fan base travels. And the volleyball is no different. And then when you have a volleyball program like the one we have here, where I know we haven't won in a minute, but you're losing to the champion, what feels like every time. You're putting together an undefeated regular season. I think there was only one Big Ten game where they didn't sweep. You correct me if I'm wrong on that, but pretty close, which is still just an unbelievable stat. And they've gotten a little bit into that area where people talk about them like the 90s Nebraska football teams, where I wasn't alive yet, obviously born in 99. But when people talk about like that 95 team, for example, and like what would the media fans and what would they complain about and what would they nitpick? Well, a lot of times it's just outrageous because you kind of get used to how good they are, and you almost start to feel like it's normal, and then it's going to sustain like that forever. And when you talk to fans, like I talk to Raph about it all the time, the things that they would talk about after losses. I mean, there was conversations firing Coach Osborne, or if they lost or they won a game, but they won 47-3. They're pissed off because they thought their defense gave up a field goal, which is absolutely unacceptable. You really start to nitpick things and get into conversations that sound ridiculous when you zoom out and we're all the way in 2026 and we're just looking at next year's football schedule, which we'll get into later. And we're thinking, how in the hell are we going to go get 8 wins, 7 wins, 6 wins seems tough when you're looking at the schedule. Well, in the Osborne era, like you were complaining about giving a team 7 points or 3 points, even though you beat them by 40 plus. Sometimes that's kind of what happened with volleyball. And I hope people understand how insane this volleyball team is, because that's the conversations we're having last year. Like, these guys are really good. They're sweeping too much, though. You know, they really should lose a couple sets so they can play 1-5, just so they can kind of get the feel and experience for it before they get to the postseason bracket. What an outrageous conversation to have. Like, just, well, hopefully they lose some games here so they know what losing is like. So then when they get to postseason, they're used to playing 5. Sure, it's an argument to have, but in reality, it's kind of empty and weight. It's an odd thing to debate and talk about. But what the hell else are you going to talk about, because the team is winning and they're sweeping everybody? The one time they don't sweep, people were happy that they didn't sweep, because they're like, okay, maybe that's the experience that they needed. Of course, we ended up losing to Texas A&M in the championship, but it was a great season. And I don't think it ever mattered if they lost a set or if they had to go play 2-5 in that Big Ten stretch before they got to postseason. All that to say, when you're dealing with elite programs, that the brand has become so dominant, not only on the brand, but the play on the court for volleyball, or the play on the field, as it was in the case of football. Be careful about some of the conversations, because some of the conversations sound really idiotic when you zoom out, especially if things start to fall apart, although that program is so well built and it's been good for so long. I'm not foreseeing that anytime in the future. Never know. Things can happen. But right now, it looks like it's in solid hands with Danny Busby Kelly. And obviously, Troy Dana and the new AD and all the ADs before, like, volleyball has stayed at the forefront. No ADs came in here and tried to make less of it than what it is. Trev Alberts, you know, like him or hate him, the volleyball day in Nebraska, that getting told and convinced to do that, and then believing in the volleyball program and saying, like, yep, absolutely, we'll listen to you guys, we'll set this up. Like, it has respect. That's not Trev Alberts. I don't think that was his idea to do volleyball day in Nebraska. Now, good on him for siding with the volleyball program. It's like, you know what, this is a great idea. Let's go ahead and do it. I'll put my name behind it, and I will support this. So we've had ADs that walk in here left and right that have always respected the volleyball program and have not, you know, tried to cut away any of their revenue, as far as I'm aware of. When you look at some other cases, you'll see new ADs come in and they'll look at a volleyball team, and the volleyball team's not performing very well. They're not going to cut the program for Title X purposes, but maybe they don't get as much funding. Maybe, you know, when it comes to the portal, they don't really have anything to offer. And volleyball is one of those spaces too, where you're not seeing those outrageous numbers where we're talking millions and millions of dollars for one player. But Nebraska is at a point where I'd imagine if you look at the payroll, we're probably number one. I know they did the stat last time on X. I don't want to say for sure, because I feel like the number is always a little bit gray, and how people get full accuracy on those reports always feels a little bit, not shady, but feels like things can obviously be summarized a little bit to try to find some whole numbers where it's like, okay, this is the ballpark. Is it exactly? I'm not sure, but it does look like Nebraska's outspending everybody else. And they can do that because this volleyball program is closer to turning a profit than anybody else. And they do it by having volleyball day in Nebraska. They do it by going out to Wrigley Field. They do it by selling out every damn venue they host at home. The tickets last year were outrageous, and it's a good problem to have. It's an unfortunate problem if you don't have a ton of money and you want to go watch a volleyball game. But for the volleyball program, it's great. I mean, they were selling tickets to regular season games for like $600, and they were playing a bad, say, Maryland team. And it was a cold, crappy day. And tickets would just be outrageous, hundreds of dollars just from one ticket. So great problem to have. Like I said, if you have the funds and go support them, a little bit tougher if you don't have the funds. But on the bright side, as we're talking about Husker volleyball, you got opportunities to do so. This spring schedule, one of the opportunities to go check out this volleyball club. They wrapped up already in the Stanford Pentagon. And again, talking about like these events, these scrimmages, these games that this volleyball program has, they create a huge spark. They just finished up with their match at the Stanford Pentagon. Of course, spring schedule doesn't count to anything, but they swept them in that. It was a 4-0 finish, and they played that extra one in there because it is just exhibition. Up next, they do have Creighton. That one's coming up, I believe, on Friday. Yep, a couple of days here. Friday April 17th, and they will actually be playing at the DJ Sokol Arena. So if you want to go check them out, cheap game to go to. You can definitely go watch that. Nebraska versus Creighton. I'd imagine it's cheap, although with the volleyball program, you never know. Those tickets are often in demand and they can kind of skyrocket if you're not keeping an eye on it and you wait too long to pick up your tickets. And then, of course, they'll wrap up with probably one of my favorite things that they do. Saturday, April 25th, they will be heading to they will be facing, Northern Colorado in Chadron, Nebraska. So very cool thing that they do. I'd imagine most people have caught on to it already. I couldn't tell you when this started exactly. I should get the exact year, but they will go for their spring schedule, go check out a local high school team every year or a local venue. This case for Northern Colorado, where they've been playing in Chadron, Nebraska, they're actually playing at the Chadron State University's court. Better seating, better arena. I think it's actually a newer building too. So it is very nice. And if you're going to that, making the drive, or if you're all the way living in Chadron, Nebraska right now, listening, that is a great opportunity. The venue sounds like it's going to be nice, not just like your basic high school wooden bleachers, not to disrespect those, but nice venue that they'll be playing in. But it's really cool that they'll do this. They give fans an opportunity to go see their team where they're at. It's a different spot every single year. And I'd be curious, the day they go play in my hometown at Nebraska in Hartington, I'd be pumped. Like, I'd go back home to go watch Nebraska volleyball if they're playing in my home territory. But I think it's one of the more unique things that I don't know if any other programs do it to the extent that Nebraska does, but having that yearly game where you go out to where your fans are at, and then the way they sell the tickets, you can't buy those tickets online. You have to be in line and be at the venue. That's how you get them. And then they have rules on it, so people can't just hoard all the tickets and then try to scalp them and inflate the prices and sell them for way more. They make it so the local fans usually, by the way it's set up, should get the first opportunity to go get those tickets before someone else has the opportunity to buy them all up and inflate the prices, or before scalpers can get a hold on them. So the way they do it is really nice, because again, you're giving the hometown, that home venue, the first opportunity to get those tickets. And then, just going and playing actual venues itself. I think that's an incredibly cool thing to do. I mean, can you imagine if the Nebraska basketball team was kind of doing the same thing, where they were a traveling group, and during the spring they would go pick a venue where, hey, we're going to go to, Norfolk, Nebraska, not terribly far, but we'll go play at Norfolk Catholic gyms or the Norfolk Public Schools auditorium, whatever it may be. That'd be an awesome thing. And fans would come out and they would love to see it. It'd give like the little kids in those areas whose parents maybe are busy, they have to work on weekends, they don't have the funds or time to drive all the way to Lincoln, Nebraska to go catch a game during the regular season. That's brutal. I mean, a lot of kids grow up just dreaming to go to one of those venues. And when you're young, it's kind of a magical experience that first time around. Now they get an opportunity to do so for the busy families, parents, or the ones that just don't have the funds to maybe go all the way and make that trip to Lincoln. Because again, it's not just the tickets. It's you get in there. Okay, now it's the food. It's if you're planning on staying the night, you got to get a hotel, especially if you're coming like really far out west. You're going to have to probably stay the night, especially if you got some young kids that you don't feel great about keeping them up on an overnight road trip. So that adds up. And then the food, of course, adds up. And then the gas, if you're driving from it gets expensive. And anyone's alive today, we all know that things aren't as cheap as they used to be. That's a nice little thing for those guys to be able to do. And even like the surrounding towns, like I couldn't tell you what small towns are around Chadron, Nebraska, that far out north. Yeah, they'd be out northwest. But those small towns around Chadron, like those fans are also pulling into Chadron to get in that line, do the same thing. So yeah, you hit one town, but you hit all the small towns surrounding it. And that's a very Nebraska thing where I'm sure anyone who's from the state knows the travel. When you're driving by, you'll pass through, just feels like dozens of small towns with populations of anywhere between 50 people to 5,000. I consider that like my small town kind of category. And they're scattered everywhere. And these fans, I'm sure just like Chadron, Nebraska, they're scattered out there in the West. They'll just pool all the way to Chadron to go check out that volleyball program. So shout out to those guys. They did wrap up in that Stanford Pentagon. And like I said, they swept Iowa State, which actually funny because Iowa State is also a former Iowa State head coach, former Nebraska player as well. So you got that connection there. And then you got Creighton on the 17th. And like I said, you got Chadron, Nebraska. They'll be playing Northern Colorado on April 25th, Saturday, 1 p.m. So pretty fun slate for the spring. I just want to give them their flowers because, again, volleyball program, the amount of water that they have carried for the athletic program it's been a lot. I mean, let's be real here. The bowling program's always been decent. Shout out the rifling team. Wrestling, Mark Manning's had that thing pretty polished, and they're actually even having some more success as of late. But then, of course, football certainly been struggling. Basketball been struggling. Women's basketball, good, not good enough to, maybe sell the brand in an elite way, but definitely good and like nothing to hang heads about. Making it to the tournament a few years in a row, like you'll take those and getting some tournament wins. Much better history than what the men's side had until this year. But trying to think of like anyone I might be leaving out here. But like it was volleyball by far and away that was the kingpin of Nebraska athletics, where that was the team to be feared, and arguably still is. Like that's the favorite going in next year. Whether it's the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, they're going to be a contender to win it all and one of the favorites to win it all. They just enjoy it, especially if you're a volleyball fan. And if you're not a volleyball fan, just encourage you to go watch it. I'm not saying this is ending anytime soon, but the precedent that these guys have set is certainly unreal and not something that should ever go unnoticed. We were talking about the MVP race with Tristan Gomes on that last hour. And we're talking about Jokic. And like some of the shock values maybe weren't on people. I still, every time I get an opportunity to watch a Nuggets game, I will, if Jokic is playing, because I just think the way he plays is incredibly entertaining and his understanding is fun to watch. His understanding of the game is fun to watch. But you're seeing like some of the shock value where NBA fans feels like they don't even really understand or respect like how good of a player he is and how dominant he is on the court night in, night out. That's kind of what's volleyball right now. Like the seasons that this volleyball program is putting together is just unreal. And these things don't last forever. So silk it up. I'm not saying it's ending anytime soon. But like I said, this is a pretty unreal precedent that these guys have set. The last thing they do is just go win a championship. And they'll certainly be in contention to do so. Didn't lose anybody to the portal. Second year in a row, they retained everybody on their roster, which just shows you where the trust is in the coaching staff, especially going through a new coach. You lose a legendary coach in John Cook and you plug in Danny Busman-Kelly. Everyone still stays on board. It gives you good signs of where that team's buy-in is at. And it's clearly with that Nebraska staff. And despite John Cook not being the head coach anymore, the buy-in never seemed to wane as they pulled together undefeated regular season last year. And this year, as I mentioned, one of the favorites to go ahead and win it outright once again, as it feels like they're in that conversation every single year. All right, we'll go ahead, throw it to break. On the other side, I'll shout out Husker Wrestling a little bit as well, because we also have Takedown Tuesdays on Tuesday. But of course, national champion Ridge Lovett, he's out taking care of business. So I'll shout out some of that, some transfer portal news, and then we'll dive into Husker football. So don't go anywhere. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. We'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Grant Wister. I played at Nebraska, and after football, I wanted to build something in Nebraska that I was genuinely proud of. Champ Roofing is that. We built the whole company around one idea: do the job right and treat people well. Roof replacements, inspections, gutters, siding, whatever you need, our team is going to show up, communicate with you, and handle it with real care. Nebraska homeowners deserve that. Visit us at champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's. 435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
you know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'.
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Arens Tristan on the ones and twos. Appreciate everybody sticking around, listening, and we'll be back up to our normal programming, starting up at the top of the next hour. We got Mandy Munson for the Girls Club. She's been doing the show for, I want to say she's got about 6 episodes, and of course, former Husker volleyball player herself, very successful one at that. So she knows the volleyball game, familiar voice. She did our volleyball postgame shows as well. So if it sounds familiar, it might be just why. So with that being said, keep an eye out for that. Also, a little bit more baseball updates here because we got 2 baseball games I really want to keep track of. The first one, of course, on our brick and mortar, we got the Kansas City Royals. That one is low scoring. It is currently still 1-0, top of the 8th inning, and 1 out so far. Okay, so 1 out, top of the 8th inning. Kansas City Royals still leading it though, 1-0. The other game in the college realm, Nebraska baseball. They're in a ball game right now versus Creighton, and it is currently, let me refresh, make sure it looks accurate. It is currently bottom of the 4th. Nebraska was able to take back the lead after not a slow start, but a faster start by Creighton. Again, Creighton had 3 runs in the first 2 runs in the second, put them up 4-2. Nebraska had 0 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, and they put up 3 in that 3rd inning to take the lead. And now Nebraska, currently batting again at the bottom of the 4th, was able to hold Creighton to a scoreless 4th inning. They're hoping to capitalize it right now. They currently have 1 out, 2 people on base, 1 at 3rd and 1 at 1st. And we got Freeman at the bat there. So hopefully they can take advantage of this inning and try to get out of here with a few more runs and cushion that lead a little bit more. I got to say as well, for anyone who's down there, looking at social media, the N is now out there on the grass. Looks great. Haymarket Park just needed a few more touch-ups there, a few more cosmetics, and that is one of the better looking ballparks in the Big Ten. Not going to compete with all the SEC ones out there, all the ACC venues, but certainly when you're looking around the Big Ten, you got great fields like Oregon. Obviously, if anyone who just watched that series, beautiful, beautiful baseball park to go play at, especially with the trees they have around there. Nebraska baseball has got a nice venue. When you watch enough Big Ten baseball, you realize we got a lot better than some of these other schools. Some of these schools are not great, tough. And then, of course, don't have the success that Nebraska baseball's had in these past couple of years, where, again, they are, let me get their official record here. I mean, Nebraska baseball's been on such a tear this year. We had to get all the way to the end of April before I think the team had 20 wins last season, and we're April 14th, and they're closer to 30 than they are 20. I got to double check what their exact record is, because with the 2 losses, well, they've dropped 3 of the last 4, actually. A loss to Kansas, a loss to Oregon, a win over Oregon, and another loss to Oregon. Kansas, good baseball team. Oregon, obviously, very good baseball school. But at the same time, Nebraska, we were favored in those. But Nebraska, so officially, they're sitting with a 27-9 overall record after they dropped their game versus Oregon on Sunday. Obviously, playing today, they're playing Creighton. We'll figure out. But then they got a tough stretch coming up here. Schedule does not lighten up anytime soon, because after this Creighton game, they have USC. USC's having a phenomenal year in baseball so far. They are sitting with a 30-7 record. Some of their more impressive wins would be a win over San Diego State. And, well, okay, I'll be honest. They haven't really been tested a whole lot. This would be a good one for them to come play Nebraska. See where they size up. So far, the only notable games that they had, like I said, San Diego State, they get a win. But otherwise, they had their series versus UCLA. UCLA's unreal this year. So take it with a grain of salt. This is still a very good team, but UCLA is really impressive. They lost all 3 to UCLA 12-4, 9-8, 10-4. Then they also lost to UC Santa Barbara on that Tuesday in their midweek game. Big Ten opponents, they've dropped one to Maryland and they've dropped one to Northwestern. That's it. Otherwise, they've taken care of business. So 3 of their 7 losses come out of UCLA and a UC Santa Barbara game, and then a couple Big Ten games between Northwestern and Maryland, and that's where they got 7. Tough stretch for Nebraska. A good challenge, though, if you can take down that USC team who's really just kind of having their way with the Big Ten outside of UCLA so far. Feel pretty good about your chances there. After that loss to Oregon, they did slip out of hosting that regional projection. So you want to get this one. If you take this one, win this series, if you sweep them, fantastic. But if you win the series, that kind of puts you back into the conversation there, although they're not too far from it right now. Then they get Kansas on the road following up with that one. So they lost to them at home. They'll get an opportunity to play Kansas on the road. So if you take care of business there, you win your conference series between USC, and then you win the midweek game versus Kansas, you put yourself in really great space to go ahead and put yourself back in potential for hosting the regionals. Otherwise, they got Ohio State, Iowa, a game Kansas State, Creighton, Minnesota. So not a terribly brutal schedule for Nebraska baseball. With that being said, I'll go ahead, throw it to break here. I'll have a long segment on the other side. Don't go anywhere at 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics. Or not Fitness Fanatics, 93.7 The Ticket weeknights with Harrison Arns.
It seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Grant Wister. I played at Nebraska, and after football, I wanted to build something in Nebraska that I was genuinely proud of. Champ Roofing is that. We built the whole company around one idea: do the job right and treat people well. Roof replacements, inspections, gutters, siding, whatever you need, our team is going to show up, communicate with you, and handle it with real care. Nebraska homeowners deserve that. Visit us at champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's. 435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
and electrical.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally...
What?
You know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'?
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Spring Sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rush into your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. You guys are always welcome to tune in. 402-464-5685, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice or to get the audio. You can just get the Ticket app as well and listen anywhere you go. Shout out to Go Big Red Captain on YouTube. Good to hear from you as well. He asked, do you think college football players today are about long-term or short-term mindset when it comes to playing football at a university? I think it's just more of a business decision than ever now. And we're talking college football here, and this is a question off YouTube from Go Big Red Captain. I just think today college sports it's lost its tradition. Whether that's a bad thing or a good thing, I'm an old school guy. I get a little bit overly romantic, you could argue, when it comes to tradition, especially when it comes to collegiate athletics. So I don't like it, but I think right now it's players aren't is committed to the long term, because if you're committed to the long term, you're losing out on money. I mean, it's just business decisions today that drives a lot of these guys. Like even a guy like Burke Berukengel, like no disrespect to him for hitting the transfer portal after a great year here at Nebraska. And obviously he came out of UCLA, transferred over to Nebraska. That first year wasn't so great. This last year, was a really great contributor to, again, one of the most historical seasons in Nebraska basketball's entire history. But he talked about how much he loved Nebraska, and he left. Probably because better business opportunity, or maybe he thinks he can strike a better deal that involves some money. And I'm not here to tell any of these athletes that you should never go chase more money. Listen, things are expensive now. You go buy groceries, 3 bags, walk out the door. The groceries are still over $100 somehow. So I'm not going to tell people don't go chase the money. But if you're kind of like me and you like the tradition and you like the feel that college sports has that's unique and hard to describe, you don't like the direction and the loyalty. I'm not going to say players today don't have loyalty. I just think their loyalty has changed, and they're a little bit more loyal to themselves now before they're loyal to the N at Nebraska or the T for 10, whatever the hell school you want to say. And I don't think that's terribly surprising that now that these kids have opportunity to make a ton of money, they're going to be a little bit more loyal to themselves. It's a business now, and they operate. They have agents that understand how the business works, that will cut deals, get in contact with universities, coaches for them. So definitely more committed to the short term. In some ways, a little bit more committed to the long term. I guess if you want to go like the extreme route, like the NBA one and dones are pretty obsolete now, because you can just come back and make $1 million. Like if Price Sanford wasn't able to get paid, he's probably going to the NBA, I would think, but because he had such a great year, and he could probably bet on himself and say, I'll do it again and I'll improve my draft stock even more. But he could, if he wasn't making college money, like he could go make a ton of money in the NBA and have a really good opportunity to get drafted. But because he can get paid in college, just come back way easier. So it kind of goes both ways. In some ways, you get loyalty because you can pay them and push away the chase for the NFL or the NBA or whatever pro destination comes next. But at the same time, you're going to have the transfer portal be a lot more active. And we'll see what happens. Of course, the NCAA is potentially going to, if that 5-year limit comes to fruition, that's being debated, where essentially every athlete gets 5 years once they graduate or once they hit their 18th birthday, whichever comes first. And then once that starts, you have that 5th year kind of just baked in for anything that might go south. But if you're healthy for all 4 years, you just get the 5th year now, free, guaranteed. You have to figure out a new name to call the super seniors, what you want to call those 5th year guys. But of course, if that gets passed, a lot of this stuff will change, and the portal, I think, will look a lot different if guys have 5 years and there's no more red shirts. There's no more medical injury years that you can get a year back. Like, it's going to be tough luck for some people. Some people will have significant injuries. Some people might have 3 injuries in their collegiate career that take them out, and that only gives them 2 years to actually play. That's tough. And unfortunately, you're going to have some sad stories like that. But we have gotten to a point with college athletics that there needs to be some sort of limit. I mean, we have guys in the NBA, like in Alabama's case, you had the Alabama player who was a G League player and then got signed to be an Alabama Crimson Tide, played some games for the Crimson Tide, and then they made a reversal on the vote, and then he can no longer play for the University of Alabama. So that was backwards. Not only did you waste everybody's time, you really screwed over the individual who was in the G League, then dropped down to Alabama and now can't go back. Well, he can go back, but it's probably a lot tougher to. You got to have this stuff clear and concise, whether you 100% agree with it or not. We have to get out of the gray zone. The gray zone is just been absolute nightmare for collegiate athletics. And as much as I'm say I get like romantic about college athletics, I'd be okay if we change the rules and maybe we lose some of the tradition, but we just need a clear rule book. Right now, coaches don't like it. ADs don't like it. Agents probably love it the most because they have the most wiggle room in all of this in the gray area language because they can make more money. But it's a nightmare. So they got to pass something. I'm all for it. Even if we lose some of the traditions, as long as there's a rule book that we can all follow. And then if we need to, we can tweak it because we have in fine print. This is how it works. Here's your 5 years, no red shirts, no medical years. And the 5th one, like I said, baked in for you in case you lose a year somehow. And if you lose more than a year, tough luck. But we got to put a limit on you guys because we have too many people trying to come back. You had the UCLA example where the guy actually played in the NBA and UCLA didn't take him, but he wanted to go back and play college basketball. And he was trying to find a school that would take him. Like, you have these crazy stories where it shouldn't work, but if you have a good enough agent or a good enough lawyer and you think you can take on the courts, and especially if that judge is a booster and a donor to the University of Alabama, which is the team that you're trying to get back on, yeah, it might work out in your favor. So, again, with all this, I know it's a little bit of a ramble, but I think everyone would agree we might not be able to agree on all the same rules, but we can all agree we absolutely need better regulation and rules around this. Is the NCAA the best people to trust? And maybe. They seem to be backpedaling a little bit on some of the mistakes or trying to get a hold on some of the mistakes that they've made. But, obviously a little bit of pressure from the White House. I'm sure that added to it and why they're getting a little bit more serious about that. So we'll have to wait and see. It's a waiting game. But, yeah, long story short, to answer your question, definitely more of a short-term game than it ever was before. And he also adds on, it's crazy because the 2 years of JUCO and a redshirt year gives them 6 years of college football. Yeah, that's the other part. I don't know where this would work out in the regulation. If they do the 5-year limit, if that goes across all colleges and counting JUCO, because otherwise the route, well, maybe not, because JUCO's not going to pay you a ton of money. But you could necessarily, play JUCO for 2 years. Those 2 years don't count against your eligibility. And then if the 5-year rule hits as well, that gives you 7 years to play college athletics. And then you could still be a pretty old player by the time you wrap up in college, but that's if you're willing to say, do 2 years of JUCO, wrap that up, then start Division 1, 2, or 3. But if you do that route, you get 2 years of development essentially, and then you still get all those years back. If it's 5 years, you get 5 years. Otherwise, it's 4. The way it sits right now, JUCO does not hit your eligibility, which is kind of unreal. I feel like that one happened and not enough people talk about it. I think it definitely should, but nonetheless, I don't make the rules. All right. With that being said, though, do got to go ahead and throw it to break. Appreciate everybody listening. If you guys want to continue to chime in, feel free to do so on the next show. We got Four to the Girls Club with the host, as always, Mandy Munson, right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'll be back on later tonight with Chris Raff, DeMornay Pearsonell. Don't go anywhere, though. Like I said, Mandy Munson up next.
in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood.